episode
Uno.
number one.
Introduction.
All right, let's give the backstory to who we are. First and foremost, this is a Hustle and Stack Invest Repeat podcast. We're focused on generational wealth and financial literacy. Like we just mentioned, we wanted to share a little bit of backstory of who we are, where we come from, and how this whole idea came together.
Yep, absolutely.
So, man, go ahead, Dale. Take it away.
I'll take it away. Let's go. I guess first a bit of background on me. So obviously, since we're doing the introductions, I'm Dale, based out of Toronto, mostly Mississauga from high school up. So I guess to really explain who I am, I'm just someone that's into finance, into community, into investing, into helping people. That's always been my thing. I thought it was important to try to form some kind of a community collaboration or something where we can do something to help. And yeah, I'm a quite basic guy, so talking like this is going to be interesting, but it's fun. It was something that was necessary to do in order to be able to build what we're working on now. So yeah, I'm just a guy from the ends, man, just out here trying to do something for the city, bring people together, and help as much people as possible because it's needed.
Yeah, and so for myself, very similar kind of a story with just a little bit of a twist. For myself, I've been, number one, my name is Frazzle. That's what everybody calls me. The name is really Safraz, but you can call me Frazzle. I like that better. I've been in the management industry for probably over 20 plus years. I've had the opportunity to see the world from two different aspects, growing up out here in Toronto on the west side, and then transitioning to New York City where I currently reside. But that doesn't change the love I've always had for this city. Throughout the course of these last few years, I've had the opportunity to meet and network with a lot of great people. Some of the people you may know personally or see them on social media and through Instagram. Obviously, most notably, Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah.
I met them, I would say probably about 5 years ago, just at the beginning stages of what they've now have created this multi-million-dollar media company. And throughout the organic relationships, being inspired in what they actually did, I always would revert back to home. And when I think about home, I said, man, this would be great if we could create something like this, but put our narrative to it.
Yeah.
Talk the same financial literacy talk about that generational wealth, but how it relates to us as Canadians. Everything is so very different when you think about America and Canada. Very close in proximity, but very different when you think about structure, government, do's, don'ts, and stuff like that. Culture.
Yeah.
Even just overall culture-wise.
Sure.
How we were raised is very different from how American or the American life is. So we all still have the same aspirations, and that's to do better in our personal lives and for our friends and our family. And so hence that's how this whole kind of podcast came about.
Yeah.
It started as a vision between myself, and then throughout the course through just great networking, utilizing resources, I ran across Dale and I said, man, all right, this guy is very similar to me. We have a very like-minded kind of mindset, same type of drive and execution. Why not? You know what I mean? If Dale, he's in the community. And that's one thing you can't say is Dale is out here.
Yeah.
So when you think about the community, that's automatically I thought of Dale, and I said, me coming with my background and my resources, it would be the only right to pair with somebody like this because, again, we have the same mindset, and we've just went back and forth throughout the last probably 6 months plus, picking each other's brains on what the name would look like, what the brand should look like. And then we just said, we pause for a second. Life takes over, and we started doing life things and try to just getting our feet planted. And then it was just one day I was like, all right, enough is enough. let's go. I picked up the phone. I was like, all right, Dale, you ready to do this, man? I've always played the background. It's time to be the face behind the camera,
Yeah.
to be the behind the brand and create our own table and create our own lane, but do it in a Canadian way with a Canadian twist. And not only just do it on a Canadian level, starting at the GTA, which is our home base,
Yeah.
but taking this across the country.
Yeah.
We want to start at home, but we also want to go ahead and tap into your Montreals and your Albertas and your Scotias. I see you, Scotia. I know you're out there. Alberta, like I mentioned, Vancouver, and so many other places that have a story and have people very much like us that we want to go ahead and tap into and build and continue to build our network and our resources.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And you said a lot. So even in talking about like how he mentioned the networking aspect and things like that, moving around, being in spaces. So how everything started for me on my side. So you're gonna get two sides to the story from his perspective and my perspective. So he brings up EYL, and it's funny because that played a key part in everything starting, because when they came here last year was when being out in the community, I said, okay, let me go out to the event, because I was rocking with them from 2019 or so, and I always liked what they've been doing. And I'm like, man, I wish we had something like that here, like that kind of a platform or some central thing that we could champion around for our community. So when I went to the event, I noticed there were so many people from the city that were doing dope things, but I'd never heard of them. So I'm like, how come there's no visibility? Like, I don't hear anybody talking about really collabing or doing too many things. It was a void. With my good friend Erica that likes to design stuff, I'm like, oh, I want to come up with some type of a merch, some type of shirt that has a message of just business and investment and building and stuff like that. So with her help, we came up with what we have here, this logo and stuff. And that kind of started to be that was the push of everything, because that was what got the notice. Because obviously, as he said, I'm always out, always wearing it and whatever, so people take notice or whatever. So I happened to notice Fraz when he came with EYL. And like you said, we have very similar mannerisms, or whatever you might say. So I'm looking like, this guy looks like he's from the city. Didn't know him, never had a conversation, nothing. But I was like, I get that vibe that this is like a hometown guy. I'm just gonna look and see what goes on. And anyways, long story short, he ended up hitting me up or whatever for some merch, just something simple. But through that first conversation, I think, is when we realized, we're like, wait a minute, we could work together, we could do some stuff. And then from there, we kept in touch, and then happy to have him give me the call back, because you can only do so much on your own. Like, I had all types of grand ideas to do things, but on your own, it's really tough. So it's very important to collab with like-minded people to sometimes help push what your initial vision might be into something completely bigger and just better. So I'm excited.
Yeah, super excited as well. And I know, like I said, it's, like you said, a few years ago, or it was a year plus, probably a little bit over that, when I had the opportunity to host EYL. And again, just throughout so many years of just hounding them.
Yeah.
And just, come on, we got to get you to Canada. We got to get you over. I'm telling you, this city, this country needs you. That opportunity presented itself. And for a long time, like I said, I've always played the background. It's a thing that I was very comfortable in. It's the world I came from. We weren't really front page people. You know what I'm saying? We always played the back page. It's just, I guess, the history of how we grew up in this city, being out there sometimes, and you're not really that guy. You know what I'm saying? You're moving you're doing too much. You're moving like, you're doing some, I guess we would call it goofy stuff, right? Yeah. So I've always played the background, and again, the vision and the overall objective was really just to go ahead and create this type of platform for not only the city, but for the country, with like-minded people. I've got dope people that have helped me, which again have been longtime friends that I tapped into for 30 plus years. So I'm talking about P plus. You're talking about Sherrard from M5V. These are the guys I grew up with and used to go to the mall, hang out in the mall with. I firmly believed, I always firmly believed, is that I wanted to always work with people that I had an admiration for, that I had history with, because I knew that organically it would feel right.
Yes.
And that's how we started to build this kind of momentum. But a lot of the time, to your point, is there's a little bit of myth behind me. Right?
Yeah.
Because you hear the twang.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, as they say, you hear the twang. But yeah, I am from the ends. This is where I grew up in Martin Grove and Eglinton.
Okay.
Willow Ridge, all right. You already know what type of time I'm on. And then my family and stuff, we transitioned throughout different areas throughout the city, all the way from Dundalk. That's how.
Out there.
Dundalk, all the way to Brampton and so forth. But definitely Brampton's where we definitely laid most of our roots and stuff like that. But a lot of people throughout the courses of a lot of the Ian, the Master Investor, and 19 Keys, and all of these people coming over and bringing them and showing them our city. Everybody always thinks that I'm American.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is an American guy. You know what I'm saying? He's with the American contingency.
Yeah.
And then as I get to talk to them and I get to explain, my grandparents lived in Chalk Farm.
Yeah.
That catches them off guard. Like I played basketball in Morningstar. I went to high school. And they're like, whoa, this guy really is from out here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I just wanted to put that myth to bed. I do have a Canadian passport.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely do. But now I just reside in the United States in New York, just through family and just a better life. It gave me just a little bit more opportunities that I didn't see here at that particular time and moment. And I ran with it. But I didn't just kick my feet up when I was in America and think that it was all this glitz and glamour, like people get caught up in the lights. I always wanted to make sure I came back home. Home was always in the back of my mind. Always has been and always will be. So it was just a matter of just the timing and the opportunity, and the stars aligned itself. As we see all the time, when you speak about stuff, you manifest stuff, you think about it, you write it down, it truly can happen, and it can really come to fruition. Right? You got to believe in it, but I would definitely say the biggest part of what's created the Hustle, Stack, Invest, Repeat podcast is creating a like-minded team.
Yes.
Championships aren't won by individuals.
Never.
They're 100% done with teams of like-minded people that know their position, play their position, and execute at a high level. And that's what we do, right? There's no egos. There's no, oh, I'm the man, I'm this, that, the third. It's about an overall common goal, and that's to give as much knowledge and education and provide a platform for our audience and for the people that we engage with, and hopefully do that and actually do that throughout the country with putting our Canadian stamp on it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's a lot of things are buzzwords these days because of social media and stuff. So you hear collaboration and whatever, and people say that, but they're not really about it, or they're not doing it effectively. And I think we both identified that as an issue that we have in our city particularly, which is people not working together as much as they could, or not doing as much collabs. You have people want to be the man, or people want to be the center of everything, and not realizing that you could build greater things together. So I think that's why this is so important to both of us, because you got to do stuff. You got to be the change you want to see. You got to be the example instead of just talking about it. So you're going to see us doing it, pulling people in and showing you like, this is where it's starting. So you're going to see firsthand how it starts and then where it goes to. And another thing that's funny, like he brings up playing ball in Morningstar and stuff. When I saw him, he looked familiar. So this is another lesson, right? Is you never know, always treat people with respect unless there's reason not to, because you never know how small the world is and how it goes. So he played ball in high school around the same time that I did, and we came to find out that we knew a lot of mutual people from that time and stuff like that. So it's just funny to see how, I don't want to date us, or maybe I'll date us, but it's funny to see how many years later a full circle moment can come, and then you're working with someone and doing big things. So that's dope.
Yeah, and I guess that what I would say is pretty much the story behind the Hustle, Stack, Invest, Repeat podcast, as far as individuals and what this collaboration and what this new platform looks like. Like in the words of the famous Michael, aka Mula, we are those guys. All right, that's it.
That's it. Stay tuned for more.